The reason I didn't go live was solely because of drama. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it got legal. It got legal. And I'm just gonna tell you all the truth. I'm gonna talk to you guys about what exactly happened. Just get it all on the table. And then I never want to talk about this shit ever fucking again. That's all I'm gonna just say, okay? And I just want to worry about the future.
You guys like XRP or no?
It's so insane. Why do you think it's a good coin, Frank?
It just goes up often. Like, I don't know. It's like got this narrative. That's it.
So you like XRP? Do you think it
not
goes?
as a. It's like a normie coded coin.
I hate it, but that's probably why you should buy it.
If you already hold it, it's like keep holding.
I think it's the biggest meme coin on earth.
What if I told you that one of the biggest bromances on the internet, FaZe Banks and Adin Ross, just imploded in the most public and humiliating way possible? And at the center of it all, a meme coin called MLG, hyped as the culture coin of gaming, that skyrocketed to nearly $200 million before crashing straight into the ground. But here's the twist. Adin Ross lost tens of thousands live on stream, and leaked messages now suggest that FaZe Banks may have set him up from the very beginning. This wasn't just a bad investment, this was personal. What started as a crypto collab between friends has spiraled into one of the most explosive betrayals the internet has seen this year, fueled by accusations of fraud, a paid smear campaign, and a CEO walking away from it all. So was this all just a misstep in the wild world of crypto, or did FaZe Banks orchestrate one of the most devastating rug pulls of 2025? Let's break it down. At first glance, MLG Coin looked like a joke, literally. It launched in October 2024 on the Solana blockchain with the kind of name you'd expect from a teenage gamer in 2012, 360 noscope, 420 blaze it. It branded itself as the culture coin of gaming, a tribute to the chaotic, inside joke energy of first-person shooter lobbies and Twitch chat memes. No roadmap, no utility, just pure internet chaos. But then something wild happened. By January 2025, FaZe Banks and Adin Ross started hyping the coin publicly. Tweets, Discord chats, live streams, everywhere you looked, they were calling MLG the future. Banks called it the most viral coin launch in Solana history. Adin said it felt like Dogecoin, but for gamers. Within 5 days, the market cap jumped from a measly $3 million to a jaw-dropping $150 to $200 million. Crypto influencers flooded in. Reddit was on fire. Even normies were FOMOing into it. People genuinely believed this was going to be the next Shiba Inu, just with headshots and no scopes. Except, no one stopped to ask the obvious question. What happens when the hype dies? And that's when everything started to unravel. But we're not there yet, because the next part is what turned this from a typical crypto bubble into a full-blown public ambush. It all went down in February 2025, during what was supposed to be just another chill crypto stream. FaZe Banks and Adin Ross were side by side, laughing it up, talking tokens, teaching their viewers how the crypto game really works. They even brought in a few so-called experts, guys who claim to know how to 100x your money overnight. It looked friendly, educational, even. But then came the moment that would change everything. Adin Ross, in front of thousands of live viewers, pulled out $50,000 and bought into MLG Coin on the spot. His fans watched in real time as he clicked buy on the token he'd been told was the future. And then, it tanked. Immediately. Within literal seconds, Adin's investment nosedived. People in the stream started freaking out. The coin's price was collapsing before their eyes, and Adin was down thousands, live. And what made it worse? The so-called crypto experts sitting on that very stream started offering weirdly calm explanations like, yeah, people were probably just waiting for you to buy so they could sell. Totally normal. Totally normal? To the audience, it didn't look like bad luck. It looked like a setup. Because when your buy-in triggers a mass sell-off, and you're the only one losing money, that's not investing. That's being used. Fans began accusing the entire stream of being a coordinated rug pull, with Adin as the fall guy, unwitting exit liquidity in a game he thought he was playing with friends. But the worst part wasn't the money. It was what came after, when Adin discovered what Banks was allegedly saying about him behind closed doors. If losing tens of thousands of dollars live wasn't enough, what came next hit even harder. On the 28th of July, 2025, a leaked screenshot from a private group chat surfaced on X, formerly Twitter. At first, people thought it had to be fake, just another internet troll stirring the pot. But it wasn't fake, it was very, very real. The messages allegedly showed FaZe Banks throwing Adin Ross under the bus. Not just vaguely blaming him, but calling him the only bad actor, and claiming that Adin was used as exit liquidity for MLG Coin's crash. The internet exploded. Adin, visibly shaken, took to social media and confirmed it. The screenshot was real. He didn't deny anything, and he didn't hold back. He said it felt like betrayal from someone he considered a brother. I genuinely couldn't believe it when I saw that message, Adin said. There's only one bad actor and it's Adin? Bro, I couldn't even process that. What made it worse? Banks stayed silent. He danced around the accusations. Never confirmed, never denied, never even addressed whether he really said those words. He just posted vague defenses and half apologies, trying to shift focus to anything but the leaked chat. And that silence spoke volumes. Because in moments like this, people don't want PR spin. They want accountability. They want honesty. And from Banks, they got neither. But he wasn't done talking. Not yet. Because after being exposed online, Banks suddenly had a different story. One where he was the victim all along. Just when it looked like the walls were closing in, FaZe Banks finally broke his silence. But instead of apologizing or taking responsibility, he doubled down hard. In a series of Instagram stories and X posts, Banks claimed the whole thing was being blown out of proportion.
I'm linking you in top clips like Adin, can you please clear my name? My name keeps getting farmed. I'm gonna say this too, as far as just running with logic. We got Adin Ross and FaZe Banks wrapped up in this quote-unquote scam. You'd be reading about it on ZachXBT's Twitter.
He said the leaked messages were taken out of context, and most importantly, he denied ever profiting off MLG Coin. In fact, he insisted that he lost money to the tune of $106,475. To back it up, Banks posted a blurry screenshot of a wallet and claimed it showed his losses. But here's the catch. No one could verify it. There was no independent blockchain analysis, no wallet address, no public ledger, just Banks' word. Banks alleged that the entire backlash was orchestrated, claiming that someone had paid $40,000 to $50,000 to launch a hate campaign against him on social media. He said big Twitter pages were being paid to flood timelines with anti-Banks posts to make him look like the villain, even though, in his words, he was just trying to build something cool with friends. It was a bold defense, but for many fans, it felt like deflection. Because even if Banks didn't sell, even if he did lose money, even if there was a smear campaign, none of it explained the bigger issue. Why does this same pattern keep happening with him? From CS:GO Wild, to Save the Kids, to Banks Social, to now MLG Coin, every single time Banks shows up, hypes a project, and then vanishes when it crashes. And that's why this wasn't just about one coin. This was about something much bigger, a decade-long trail of chaos hiding in plain sight. This wasn't FaZe Banks' first rodeo. Long before MLG Coin, long before the live streams and the leaked messages, Banks had already built a reputation, not just as a content creator, but as someone who backed projects that mysteriously crashed right after the hype. Let's rewind. 2015 to 2017, the CS:GO Wild scandal. Banks and several FaZe Clan members secretly co-owned CS:GO Wild, a site that let users, many of them underage, gamble using CS:GO skins. They promoted it heavily without disclosing ownership, live-streamed wins, and reportedly pulled in up to $200,000 a day. Critics labeled it borderline fraud. Even though the site operated offshore, the damage was real. Kids were betting thousands, and FaZe was profiting quietly. Sound familiar? 2021. Save the Kids and Banks Social. Then came Save the Kids, a crypto token disguised as a charity project. Promoted by FaZe influencers, it was supposed to help children. Instead, the token's price plummeted immediately after launch. Several members were suspended. FaZe K was kicked out. The charity? Nowhere to be found. Around the same time, Banks tweeted that he was giving away $10,000 worth of Banks Social tokens, claiming he effed with it heavy. The coin surged, then collapsed. When people started asking questions, he deleted the tweet. He said it was just a giveaway, but never disclosed any financial ties. Even the Banks Social CEO later accused him of a pump and dump before walking it back under public pressure.
This quote-unquote scam, if there were any part of this that was a scam, you'd be reading about it on ZachXBT's Twitter or watching about it in a CoffeeZilla YouTube video.
Boy, did Coffee, that's what I want to ask you. Did CoffeeZilla ever ask any of you or whoever else is in that room about this or no?
No, he knows fully that it's not a scam. It doesn't even make sense. Associating the word scam to what happened with this coin doesn't even make sense. Again,
2022 to 2023, Imposters NFT and Utopia avatars. In 2022, Banks joined the Imposters NFT project as an advisor. It was supposed to be a groundbreaking social deduction game in the metaverse. It launched with hype, but then delays, no real updates, and radio silence. Today, it's down over 90%, and Banks never mentions it. Same story with Utopia avatars in 2023. Another NFT project, more big promises. Banks again listed as an advisor. Even Adin Ross's manager was involved. By 2024, it was dead. No refunds, no apologies. Just another web, 3 grave. At this point, it's hard to call it bad luck. Every project Banks touches seems to follow the same formula. Hype it, pump it, vanish when it tanks, And yet, every time, he claims innocence. He's either just advising, not selling, or also a victim. But after nearly a decade of digital disasters, people have stopped buying the excuses. Because this isn't just a one-off scandal, it's a pattern. And now, with MLG Coin, that pattern finally caught up with him. On the 28th of July, 2025, FaZe Banks did something no one saw coming. He resigned. In a statement that felt more like a cry for help than a press release, Banks announced he was stepping down as CEO of FaZe Clan and walking away from the internet indefinitely. "I've never scammed anyone in my life," he wrote. "The entire narrative is unfair. My FaZe name is so easily exploited. I wish I could say I'll be back, but I don't know if I will." Just like that, the man who helped build FaZe from a gaming crew into a global brand disappeared from the spotlight. And while some fans showed sympathy, pointing to the mental toll of being constantly accused, constantly hated, others weren't buying it. Because whether or not Banks meant to scam anyone, the results spoke louder than his words. Investors lost millions, trust was shattered, and FaZe, once a billion-dollar empire, was now being dragged down by the very person who helped save it. And let's not forget, Banks had only just returned as CEO in 2023 to revive FaZe Clan after a corporate takeover. He was the face of the comeback story. Now, just 2 years later, that face had become the brand's biggest liability. There were even rumors, unconfirmed but loud, that certain Twitter influencers had been paid up to $50,000 to amplify anti-Banks propaganda. If true, it shows just how messy and weaponized the internet has become. But no amount of damage control could fix what had already been done. Because the crypto world has one golden rule. You mess with people's money, and they will never forget. And in this case, Banks didn't just lose a coin, he lost a legacy. It's not just the scams, it's not just the money, it's the pattern. That's what's haunting FaZe Banks more than anything else right now. The fact that every time, it's the same script with a different coin. A massive project gets hyped, Banks gets involved, the price skyrockets, people buy in. And then, crash, silence, and confusion. And when the dust settles, Banks claims he never profited, never lied, never meant for anyone to lose money. Over and over again. To his most loyal fans, this is devastating. Because Banks wasn't just a content creator, he was a symbol. A guy who went from trickshotting in Call of Duty to building a billion-dollar empire. He was the cool older brother of the internet. He didn't just play the game, he defined it. So when Adin Ross, someone Banks mentored and helped build into a streaming titan, gets thrown under the bus, when viewers lose life savings chasing meme coins, Banks hyped. When promises are made and then quietly erased from existence, it doesn't just feel like bad business, it feels like betrayal. And the worst part? There's never any closure. No refunds, no apologies, no responsibility. Just another, I didn't mean it, and another project added to the pile. That's why the internet finally turned on Banks. Because even if he didn't technically break the law, he broke something more important, trust. And once that's gone, no amount of crypto can buy it back. So now we're left with one question. Was this all an orchestrated scam, or just a chain of very bad decisions? FaZe Banks says he's innocent. He says he lost money. He says the messages were taken out of context, and that he's being targeted by a $50,000 hate campaign. And maybe all of that is true. But here's what else is true. A coin backed by Banks soared to nearly $200 million, then collapsed. A close friend lost thousands live on stream. Fans and investors were left holding empty bags. And this exact storyline is played out again, and again, and again. Whether it was CS, Go, Wild, Save the Kids, Bank Social, Imposters, NFT, Utopia, Avatars, or now MLG Coin, every time, the ending is the same. If it's not a scam, it's a spectacular failure of judgment. If it's not intentional, it's shockingly careless. And if it's not criminal, it's still morally bankrupt. Because at the end of the day, FaZe Banks might not be a mastermind, but he also might not be a victim. And the internet has started to ask a chilling question. How many times can you say, "I didn't know," before we stop believing you? So, was it betrayal? Was it manipulation? Or just a friendship turned sour in the world's most toxic casino? We'll let you decide. But one thing's for sure. When you play with crypto, friends, and influence, eventually, the house always wins. And sometimes, it's not the audience that gets played.